The dense forest was quiet, broken only by the soft rustling of leaves and the distant call of birds. At the edge of a sun-dappled clearing, a tiny tiger cub crouched, trembling and alone, its wide eyes scanning the shadows for any sign of danger. Its small body was frail, fur-matted, and its instincts screamed both to hide and to find comfort. Suddenly a figure appeared, a ranger, moving cautiously, hands empty but voice calm and gentle, offering no threat, only the promise of safety. The cub froze, every muscle tense, fear battling curiosity, yet there was something in the ranger's presence that made it hesitate, made it watch, made it wonder. After a long, silent moment, the cub took a tentative step forward, the first fragile connection forming between human and wild. This is a story of that delicate trust, of a bond that emerges not from dominance or control, but from patience, compassion, and the quiet understanding that sometimes even the wildest hearts crave care. The ranger, experienced and gentle, understood the fragile state of the cub, knowing well the dangers that lurked in the forest for an abandoned infant, hunger, predators, and the unforgiving harshness of the wild. Every movement was deliberate, every sound softened, a language of empathy and patience that the cub could feel if not understand. The forest around them, both beautiful and perilous, became a backdrop to a life-and-death lesson in trust. This small cub, alone and abandoned, had already faced so much, yet here was an opportunity for hope, a chance to learn that not all humans are threats. As the sun filtered through the treetops, casting golden patterns across the clearing, an unspoken promise hung in the air, that fear could be met with kindness, and fear could, if given time, transform into an unbreakable bond. The first encounter between the ranger and the abandoned tiger cub was fragile and tense. The tiny cub, eyes wide and body trembling, stayed just out of reach, every instinct screaming caution. The ranger knelt slowly, speaking in soft, soothing tones, offering small pieces of food. Time seemed to stretch as the cub observed, its curiosity warring with fear. Each step forward was hesitant, tiny paws pressing into the earth, ears twitching at every sound of the forest. Close-up shots capture the cub sniffing the air, pawing the grass, yet stopping short each time the ranger moved. Narration emphasizes the struggle between survival instinct and the instinct to trust. Here was a wild animal, learning that a human presence could mean safety rather than threat. Moments passed, eyes met, and the ranger's patience was met with a tiny, courageous step. The cub edged closer, sniffed the ranger's hand, and hesitated again. Finally, it accepted the offered food. That small, seemingly simple act became the foundation of a fragile but growing trust, showing that even in the wild, understanding and patience can bridge the gap between fear and hope. As the ranger slowly led the cub deeper into the forest, the small tiger began following more confidently, though it remained cautious. Every step was mirrored, the cub watching the ranger's movements and testing the boundaries of its newfound trust. The forest around them was alive with sounds, rustling leaves, distant calls, and the occasional crack of a twig underfoot. Wide shots capture the cub navigating fallen logs and shallow streams, pausing to glance at the ranger before continuing. The narration emphasizes the delicate balance between teaching the cub independence and providing reassurance. Occasionally, the cub would dart into the underbrush only to return, brushing against the ranger or pausing for a soft call, a silent affirmation of connection. Small moments, a paw brushing against a hand, a hesitant glance upward showcased the deepening bond. This chapter highlights the cub's gradual shift from fear to cautious curiosity, illustrating how trust is earned not through force but through consistent care and guidance. Each step forward symbolizes growth, both for the cub learning to navigate the forest and for the trust developing between human and wild animal. Over time, the cub's fear melted into playfulness and attachment. It began exploring with confidence, sometimes darting ahead, then circling back to check on the ranger. Shots captured tender moments, the cub brushing its head against the ranger's leg, pausing to look up with trusting eyes, or following closely as they crossed streams and climbed gentle slopes. Narration reflects on the extraordinary bond forming how a creature born to fear humans has chosen companionship over instinct. The ranger's careful guidance allows the cub to interact safely with its surroundings, fostering a sense of security while encouraging independence. Emotional beats emphasize shared moments, the cub resting near the ranger, playful swats at dangling branches, quiet pauses where the forest seems to hold its breath around them. This chapter conveys the beauty of mutual trust and understanding, showing that bonds can transcend species and fear. By the end, the cub moves freely, yet always returns to the ranger, a symbol of loyalty, comfort, and the unspoken promise of care that has transformed fear into a profound connection. As the sun dipped low, casting golden light through the forest canopy, the tiny tiger cub rested close to the ranger, no longer trembling, no longer fearful. What had begun as hesitation and distrust had grown into a bond that transcended species, a quiet understanding built on patience, care, and unwavering presence. The ranger, gentle and watchful, smiled as the cub's soft purrs mingled with the sounds of the forest, a harmony born from trust. Narration reflects on the journey from abandonment and fear to attachment and hope, highlighting how compassion can transform even the most fragile lives. The forest, once a place of danger and uncertainty, now held promise and safety, a shared space where two unlikely companions had discovered mutual understanding. As they walked deeper into the trees, the cub stayed close, occasionally glancing up at the ranger, a silent reminder that fear can be met with kindness and nurtured into loyalty. The closing shot lingers on the pair moving together, the cub's small figure casting long shadows beside the ranger, a symbol of resilience and connection. This story leaves viewers with a sense of hope, emphasizing the power of empathy in wildlife rescue and the profound bonds that can grow when trust is patiently earned.